Hey folks, Captain Kurt Pfister here, coming at you again from FlightJunkies.com headquarters in sunny Florida. I want to thank you for joining me today. Maybe you've been on our website, FlightJunkies.com, or reached us at PoweredParaglidingFreeTraining.com, or maybe you stumbled across our videos on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. If you have seen us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, because if you subscribe to us, you automatically get entered into a drawing to win some great prizes and some little giveaways that we usually do. Right now we've got about 100 t-shirts to give away, and so we're randomly picking subscribers each month to give away t-shirts. Now if you are a subscriber and you see my video on YouTube and you're a subscriber, you can then go to my website, FlightJunkies.com, click on our email, write your name, your address, and t-shirt. Just write the words t-shirt, and you'll automatically go into a drawing. And this time we're giving away the 2013 official Flight Junkie t-shirt. Want you to have one, so be sure to subscribe. And if you want, put us on Facebook, give us a likes and a thumbs up. We want to thank all those people that have been subscribing and writing in. I've gotten so much response, some good, some negative, that's okay, but I've gotten more positive responses than anything to some of the videos that I've been putting out. Maybe you've seen my powered paragliding scam warnings. It's on my website, so if you want to check that out, especially the one that comes talking about equipment. But some of my recent videos have caused quite a stir. In fact, some people are just downright pissed off about it. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Maybe this is the first video you've run across, but I've been training for over a decade and a half now in the United States. I'm coming up on almost 800 students as of now. It is April of 2013. I'm coming up on almost 800 students. I've trained nationwide, and one thing that I've always done since the beginning is train free of charge. I saw a lot of people coming into the sport that couldn't afford training. They just couldn't come up with the money. They were buying equipment that was unbelievably dangerous, sometimes the wrong size, sometimes stuff that wouldn't get them off the ground. Other times it was stuff that was so big it was downright dangerous. And the next thing that they were going to skip on was training, because there is no regulation to be trained. And so I offered back at that time when I first came into the sport to train anybody, anywhere, anytime, free of charge. I have since narrowed that down. I did that for almost 14 years. I trained anybody. I spent countless days out in the field from sunup to sundown, away from my family, away from my home, training people who didn't spend a dime with me. I fell in love with the sport, but unfortunately I bought into every kind of wrong equipment and every kind of scam there was out there, and I didn't know any better. And I just kind of made it a rule of mine to expose some of the things out there, and consequently people started coming to me for advice, because unlike some of the other people out there in the sport, it wasn't all about this. It was about the sport, and it was about being safe. Unfortunately, I had nowhere to send them, because most of the equipment was absolute garbage, had all the same problems. And when I discovered this German engineered unit called Fresh Breeze, I became a dealer for them, and I've been a dealer ever since. And until I find a better product out there, I'm going to continue to sell Fresh Breeze. I haven't found anything of better quality. I've been a dealer for them for just over almost a decade and a half now. And I really enjoy their product. Their customer service is phenomenal, and they've been a real company and one that's going to be around in the future. But I've steered people away from making a lot of mistakes. You think that some of the people and some of the quote organizations out there would have been happy that I was taking the time to keep the sport safe, to help people that couldn't do it. I saw people getting injured, I saw them wrecking their equipment, and I saw some people getting killed. And that's when I went on and I said, enough is enough. I'm going to help people, and I'm going to help the sport. I know I didn't do that for any kind of glory, and nor did I need the recognition. But you thought people would have said, hey, you know, thank you so much. Well, my students did. The people that I've trained have always appreciated it, and I've made some great friends over the years. And just in my heart, they've been like family to me. And we run things like a family here at Flight Junkies. I'm very close to many of my students, mostly all of them. And I appreciate the friends I've made over the years and the people I've been able to help out. But you think this would have been, with these organizations out there that call themselves organizations, you think they would have thanked me at some point for keeping the sport safe and taking the innumerable amount of time that I've spent out in the field for not getting paid. From sunup to sundown, away from home, in other states, training somebody who couldn't afford training to keep them safe. Instead, folks, I've had nothing but headaches from some of these people from day one. It didn't make a lot of people happy that I trained free of charge, and it's always boiled down to that. I have been kicked out of places because I gave away free training coupons. I have been asked not to participate in fly-ins because of who I am and what I do. And what I do is expose the truth of some of the garbage equipment. I expose the truth and the scams that are out there. They're going to end up costing you money. And I keep people safe. And I've dedicated a life to that. I don't think there should be a cost on training. So I've always offered it to free. If you buy equipment from us, you get unlimited free training, period. And other people just absolutely have bucked me from day one on this whole thing. Well, I've really struck a nerve lately, and one of those things is about the USPPA. My opinion about the USPPA, they may have started, and by the way, let me pause real quick for a second. I'm thankful for anybody that's been helped by the USPPA. I'm thankful for any information you got that's made you safer. But folks, honestly, in my opinion, it's not really an organization. It's run by one man who has self-appointed himself the president of this thing. He's got a whole committee that appear as members and, trustees and this. It really is set up like an organization. However, it is not required. It is not required to go to their certified instructors. It's not required to do any of that. And in some of my other videos, I've exposed that. Some of my customers have been calling in. Some of, they've been writing emails, and they've literally told me that USPPA members were telling them that they needed to be certified and they needed to go to a certified instructor, and it was absolutely necessary, almost like it was law. And I have pointed that out, that is absolutely not true at all. The USPPA the FAA rather does not require anything needed to fly a powered paraglider, but you should get good training. There are some great instructors out there. Some of them are USPPA certified instructors, but it's that certification that means absolutely nothing. Their experience is what really means it. And some of them charge $1,000. Some of them charge $3,000 for training. And I've always said it's worth it. And you're free to go to them if you want. I'm not saying anything bad about them or the fact that they're a member. What I am concerned about is a sport that is now starting to be manipulated and controlled by this so-called organization. I don't like what I see. It's amazing that in America we have a sport that is this unregulated. Because with so many times we have to get a permit just to wipe. And I got to tell you, man, I'm thankful for a government that's now allowing us the freedom of flight, to be able to fly when we want, to be self-regulated, to be able to take self-responsibility for our own safety. I love that. But this organization comes along, the USPPA, and for years, when it first started, and it may have started with every good intention, but years ago, I said, this is going to turn into a bad thing. This isn't really an organization. And folks, that day has come. My warnings to other people about that day has come. They're now trying to regulate you and force you into joining their organization. I hate to even call it an organization because I don't think it is. But but I will, for the sake of just humoring those people that actually think it's real. They want to force you into joining their organization. And the problem with this is that we're not regulated by the government, but now the sport is starting to be hindered and regulated by a group that... Now the way it's being regulated is the USPPA instructors, and under the authority of the USPPA president and the whole organization. What they're now doing is trying to, they have these big fly-ins, which are a great lot of fun to meet other people in the sport and to learn more about equipment, to see other different kinds of equipment. And now they're trying to regulate these events and tell you, you can't fly there unless you go to one of our certified instructors and spend money with him, unless you join the USPPA and send them money. And unless you have their particular rating, you can't fly in America at this event because we're going to regulate these private events. That's absolute nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I want to thank everybody who's called in and emailed me. And I've got, today alone, I got 60 emails from people just saying thank you about speaking out. Apparently this was something that needed to be said. But let me read to you some of these emails. Let me read a couple of them right off the bat. And then we'll talk more about some of this subject, because it's another topic that I really want to get to here in a second. And I'm going to show you something that just kind of boils my blood when I read it. Anyways, this is a couple of the emails. Again, I got about 60 emails today alone, and most of them very positive. Captain Kurt, up until now, I really didn't like you. Well, thanks a lot. The fact of the matter is, I don't care for type A personality people in general. That's understandable. I never met you in person, but I look forward to meeting you someday. First off, let me apologize to you, as I have been a victim of gossip. I've been listening to other dealers who try to trash you. I too have spoken poorly of you in the past, merely based on others' opinions. After seeing your videos and talking to some of your students, my opinion of you has drastically changed. I own a Fresh Breeze and fly with other guys who don't have one. I now see all the things you warned them about. My motor runs phenomenal, theirs does not. But your recent opinions about the USPPA is why I'm writing. I can't believe some of the things they are pulling. I just want to tell you thank you so much for what you are doing for the sport. Finally, somebody had the balls to speak out. Nick Novak, Bradenton, Florida. Nick, yeah, they're getting bigger every day. I have a hard time wondering how I walk sometimes. But thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. Nick, I'll tell you what. Let me stop here for a second. I've always felt this way. And again, I've done free training from day one, and I don't like something that regulates the freedom of Americans. My family, most of them fought in, my uncle, I have family members who fought in world wars. My father, my uncle, my grandfather, they fought in world wars, dying for the freedom of this country. And they fought for liberty of Americans. Most of my family members have served. I have great friends of mine. Some have lost their lives in the war, and given their service and given a life of service to my country. And I love this country. And anybody that knows me knows that. And one thing that all of these wars were fought over, and that America stands for, is freedom. And it's finally nice that we have some freedom to do some of this. And that's being taken away, not by our government in this case, but by a so-called organization trying to manipulate people into enforcing themselves into joining this organization. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to read to you in a second here what somebody wrote in a chat group, and you're not even going to believe this one. And I've tried to call them for a couple days. Unfortunately, I'm unable to get a hold of them. Let me read you another email here. Your videos took the words out of my mouth. I'm coming to your fly-in August. You're my type of guy. Looking forward to meeting you, Eric. Here's another one, Captain Kurt. I think you're a complete asshole. Thank you. You're not the first to say that, my friend. It's hard enough trying to make a living in this sport, and we have dipshits like you training for free. What is your problem, man? My problem is I like seeing people enjoy the sport. My problem is I like seeing people go home to their wife and their kids at the end of the day. My problem is I am so in love with this sport that I'm willing to not charge for training. I'm willing to keep people safe at an expense of my time. My time is the most valuable commodity I have, and I offer it for free to anybody who wants it. I want to get these people in the air, I want to get them flying, and I want to keep them safe. And that's my problem. And I've got a real problem with people stopping that and trying to deal with that. Now, the biggest thing that I want to talk to you about is something that I read. I recently got one of these emails from a guy, and he sent me a clip from one of these PPG chat groups. Now, I don't go on these PPG chat groups. I used to be on there quite a bit, and I don't go on anymore. I went in to see, rather than take his word for it. He told me about something that was said in there, and I'm like, no, a person couldn't have said that. And this is a USPPA person, and I'm saying there's no way they said that. There's no way they're saying that kind of stuff. I've heard everything. I don't care if somebody doesn't like me. If you don't like me because of my personality, that's fine. We all have different personalities. And if you don't like me because I tell you the truth, though, well, now you've got a problem. I challenge you to tell me something that I haven't said that wasn't spot on, right on the money. I'm not name calling. I can back up what I say, and this is the truth. I can back up what I say about my product, and I can back up what I say about the USPPA and other organizations out there, and even some of the other dealers that aren't flying right. I can back up what I say, and everybody knows that about me. I believe a lot of different things, but the one thing I like in America is my freedom of speech. And I respect this guy's freedom of speech. Unfortunately, I think he's a coward. Because rather than talk to me about his issues, he goes behind the scenes, sitting in his boxer shorts in the middle of the night, typing on a computer where he's nice and safe, and he doesn't have any confrontation. He's also on a chat group that I don't have anything to do with. So, you know, here's what he wrote. And this is from a guy named Alex Varv. Now, I met Alex years ago at a fly-in Toledo several times. I know who he is. And I've met him at different occasions. And up until now, I really didn't have anything against Alex. So let me read what he wrote. He is so upset that I said something about the USPPA. And he is so upset that I said something about their glorious leader of the USPPA that he has actually contacted my distributor, because I'm only a dealer for Fresh Breeze. And by the way, their opinion may differ from mine. So if you've got a bone to pick it with me, because they have nothing to do with me. But this guy was so upset. When do you hear what he wrote? He wrote to my distributor, and my distributor wrote back to him. And Alex Varv wrote this back to him. I have always admired you for your knowledge on two-stroke engines. This is Alex Varv talking to my distributor, and your participation in countless PPG events. I believe that your post about the history of PPG is invaluable, especially for many young PPG pilots that have joined us in the past years. As you claim you are still a higher rank USPPA member, but in your post, when you talk about the USPPA, you forget, he put in quotes, to address a very important issue. Your main dealer, the self-proclaimed Captain Kurt Pfister, blatantly attacks your colleague, Jeff Goen, the founder of the USPPA. Well, he's not only the founder, he's the self-appointed president. This is why the thread started. He's talking about this is why this whole conversation started. We were given a link to you to we were given a link to a YouTube video where your dealer, Kurt Pfister, blasts the USPPA and ridicules and insults Jeff Goen. I have known Jeff Goen for many years now. Nobody can deny that Jeff Goen has had and still has an invaluable contribution to the PPG sport. Chris, I smell politics here. You are friends with Jeff Goen, at least you let it be understood. You are a high-ranking member of the USPPA, but in the same time, you do not react when your main dealer attacks Jeff Goen. Can you explain, please? Why is this? Is this because you are afraid to address an ethical issue, Kurt Pfister being your main dealer? It's ethical? It's ethical that I tell people the truth about our equipment and how it's better? It's ethical to warn them that there are some scams out there that would try to take their money? That's unethical of me? Are you serious? And it's unethical to warn people about some of the nonsense and the regulation that is starting to happen, not from the government, but from an organization, keeping people from flying? Unethical. I love that he uses that word. Can you explain why is this? Is this because you're afraid to address an ethical issue? Ethics. Oh my God. I can't even believe he says it. Then he goes, now listen to this, folks, listen to this. He writes this, you either put Kurt Pfister where he belongs and defend Jeff Goen and USPPA, or you get rid of your dealer, Kurt Pfister. Are you hearing that? Are you hearing that? Or if you do not put your dealer in his place, leave the USPPA. Folks, I'm not making this up. It's right there. If you want a copy of it and where to find it and which chat group, you get a hold of me, you call me, and I'll tell you where this is at. You either put Kurt Pfister where he belongs and defend Jeff Gowen and the USPPA, or you get rid of your dealer, Kurt Pfister, or if you do not put your dealer in his place, leave the USPPA. Folks, I am not making this up. This is happening in your country, in America. You had it both ways for too many years, he says. Now it's time to clean up the mess and clarify your position. In other words, he's asking him to draw lines. You either join us with the USPPA. My distributor is a member of the USPPA. He has nothing to do with my opinion. But this guy is threatening this man's business. This Alex Varv is threatening Chris's business, his income in America, because he doesn't take a stand against somebody exercising their free speech. Hey, Alex, listen to me. Listen real good. You don't even sound American to me. I'll bet you Alex Varv wasn't even born in this country. Was he? Somebody check that out and get back to me. Was Alex Varv even born in this country? Is he even an American citizen? Because no real American would tolerate this kind of nonsense. All these wars that have been fought, all these people that have died on foreign fields have been fighting for my freedom. And I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do, I defend freedom. I defend the freedom of speech. I defend the freedom of the Constitution. My friend, what you're doing is wrong. And for you to write something like this just makes me want to vomit. You make me sick to my stomach that you're writing this. Every real American ought to be offended to be a part of an organization like this. Of an organization that tries to manipulate somebody's finances and their business and pressure them to draw sides and reject their income because they don't like what I'm saying. My friend, you've got something to learn about real Americans. You've got something to learn about veterans who've served this country. You've got something to learn about real soldiers, my friend. I'll guarantee you weren't born an American, and I was. And my friend, you better come clean on this one. You need to apologize to the American veterans, to my family, to my friends, and to everybody who has served in the United States Armed Forces for the things that you've said. Because they stand for freedom, and they have the balls to serve our country. And I salute them, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart for all those who have served, for all those who have died and bled on foreign countries, for those who have come home maimed. I thank you for your service to my country. I thank my dad. I thank my grandfather. I thank my family members who have served this country to keep it free. And guys like you, Alex, I don't know what to say. You make me sick. You need to get straight, and you owe my family an apology. You owe me an apology. You owe the USPPA an apology for saying something that stupid. Somebody get back to me and find out if this guy is even an American, because this is nuts. And I don't like things like this. And that's my stand. You may not like me. You may not like my opinion. But you know what? I'm a man of my words. And I've always been a man of my words. You may not like Kurt Pfister or his past or his beliefs, but I have the freedom of speech in America. And you're not going to sit here and control me or anybody else. You know what? I don't agree with everything the USPPA does. And if they start doing something beneficial to the sport, I'll be the first to join. And I'll congratulate and salute Jeff Gowen for making something happen. I really will. And I have nothing against him personally. And when he starts doing this, you know what? Jeff Gowen can say anything he wants about me. Anybody can say anything they want about me. And that's your right. You have a freedom of speech. I don't like it when freedom of speech is walked on. I really don't. I like that in America. And you know what? I'll defend anybody, even if I disagree with them, against somebody that's trying to take their freedom away. If somebody's trying to say, hey, this is a subject, and they get up and, I may disagree with the subject that they're talking about. But if somebody tries to tell that person they can't give their opinion, I'll stand in defense against them. People that know me know my belief on Jesus Christ. And let me just give you my opinion on Jesus Christ for those of you out there. I believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I believe he is God in the flesh. I believe the Bible is the Word of God, the inherent, infallible Word of God. I do. And I believe that people that die without Jesus Christ spend eternity in a place called hell. I believe that eternal life can only happen through Jesus Christ. As he said in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. I believe John 3:16 is correct. I believe that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth unto him should not perish but have everlasting life. Now you may disagree with that, and that's your opinion. You may have total disagreement with that, and that's your opinion. You know what? I'll defend your right to preach whatever you want, including Jeff Gowen. Jeff Gowen is a devout atheist. I have read some of the things he wrote on atheist websites that somebody pointed out to me. He is a devout atheist. He has literally mocked me to my face about my beliefs in Jesus Christ. Oh yes. Oh yes, he has. And listen, I will defend Jeff Gowen's right to be an atheist. If he wants to walk right up to the cross of Christ and spit in the face of Christ, I will defend his right to do that. Quite honestly, I think he's foolish, but you know what? I'll defend his freedom to do so. Alex, you have crossed the line, my friend. You have stepped into a mess, and you owe the world an apology. You owe the PPG world an apology, you owe me an apology, and you owe my family an apology for trying to step on my freedom and to try to step on the freedom of people who have fought for this country. Anyone who's out there ought to be offended by this kind of comment. You ought to be shocked that this man would sit there and threaten a distributor because one of his dealers has opinions about equipment and has opinions about an organization. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, mister. I'm done with you. I've tried to call you for 2 days, 3 days straight. I've placed numerous calls. You wouldn't even have the guts to call me back. You didn't have the guts to call me up and talk to me straight and tell me your opinion. Well, now you got mine. I'm very opinionated. You might not like that. And it's okay. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion about things. I don't like walking through a mall and looking at another man's ass in front of me because he doesn't know how to pull up his pants. I like it when families sit down and eat dinner together and all the kids aren't sitting there texting each other from across the table and looking on YouTube. I think they should sit down and talk to each other and have family time. I think families should stay together. I think they should do things together instead of going off in the direction that the world is going. I think they ought to spend time together instead of sitting in front of a computer. And I think some of you out there ought to get away from the computer and walk away from some of these chat groups and quit wasting your time. Devote some of that time to raising your kids. Hey, by the way, I think kids today need a good spanking for the shit that they do wrong. I don't think they should be coddled, and I don't think they should be giving an ice cream cone if they start behaving. I think they ought to be taken out behind an old woodshed and get a good swift paddling. But see, these are my opinions, and you have a right to disagree with it. And I've got a million other opinions. I don't care for the president we've got. But guess what? You have a right to vote for him just like I do. And when you try to tell me I have to vote for somebody because you like them, just like the president of the USPPA, my friend, you've got problems. People have been kicked out and uninvited to Beach Blast, to Palm Bay fly-in. I signed up as a vendor, and do you know this secret committee of USPPA members thought it best that I didn't attend. You know why? Because my vendor booth says free training on it, and because my equipment is so much better than the others out there that they don't want me there. I don't cause any problem with anybody, but I just don't run from a fight. You know why? Because I'm American, like you. And they don't want that there. They want to control the sport. They want to control what's said. They want to control what you know about the equipment. Get on and check out my scam warning videos. Thank you for joining me, folks. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. And again, if you're looking to enter into our drawing for the t-shirt, make sure that you subscribe on YouTube and then write me an email with your name and address and write the words t-shirt underneath it. And we'll be happy to get it out to you. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. God bless everybody. Take care of yourself. Hey, I want to add one more thing. Folks, if you've been turned away from a fly-in because you don't have a rating and you didn't go to a certified instructor and you didn't join some organization and you're rejected and they won't let you fly and they try to control you into not flying, listen, our field is open to you. Every year we have one of the coolest events in powered paragliding. It's called the Flight Junkies Reunion. It happens every August. Check my website, flightjunkies.com or poweredparaglidingfreetraining.com, and check for the dates. Watch the videos, read what it says. Our fly-ins are amazing. They're not just a toilet in the field, and we don't have all these rules where you got to be rated and we're going to reject you if you're not, and you're not from this guy and you're not from that guy. Listen, everybody at a Flight Junkies reunion is welcome. We lay all of our differences aside and we have a blast. You can fly any way you want. If you're a skilled pilot and you want to do aerobatics and you want to carve it up, feel free to fly, my friend. We don't put any restrictions on the way you fly. If you can fly safe, that's all we ask. And we never have any problems. We've had no injuries in the past, no collisions, no nothing. We've had some of the biggest crowds. One time, over 300 pilots showed up. And camping on the field, I'm going to feed you Friday and Saturday. I'm going to have live bands come in. We're going to have insane bonfires. We have explosions. We shoot guns during the day. Sometimes we're shooting at clay pigeons and target practice. We do fun things that you can't do at any other fly-in, because out at my place at Carver's Field in Ohio, be there August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and 4th this year, 2013. And if you're coming the next year, check the calendar. We're always in August usually when we do this, but check out my websites for the dates and sign up now. Guess what? You're not going to pay $150 to be regulated and told you can't carve it up. You're not going to be paying $150 and being turned away because you're not certified. We welcome you, and you're going to pay $49 if you prepay, and you're going to get fed 2 nights a week. You're going to get live bands, bonfires, camping, t-shirts, prizes, giveaway, and the freedom to meet other people who love the sport and love to fly. Because for us, it's all about the flying and it's all about the fun. So don't impress us with your ratings, because we don't care. Just come and have a good time. We love you. Thanks so much.